Okay, I think I am live. Oh, I did not even see my intro going on, y'all. I hope y'all got to see the intro. But welcome. This is Elsa 932 on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me. We are here for Project Runway. I know I have storms in my area. I don't know if that made my, live flicker a little bit. I hope you all did get the intro. All I heard saw was we're live. But glad to have you here. Yes, thank you, Sam, for being here in the middle of chores. Thank you for always supporting. And yes, we are here for Project Runway episode 7, as you see up there. Now, Project Runway is, doing us dirty this year. We have to go through last episode. Okay. We have to go through last episode in order to get this, the person who was sent home. And I don't like starting a new episode with sending someone home. Okay, Sammy, tell me the intro didn't play. Well, hey, that happens. It's technology. So last episode, let me pull this up here. Last episode, episode 6, these were the bottom looks. Yuchin and Joan. Now, we love us some Joan, okay? I love some Joan, okay? Now, please, y'all, at the early onset of this, please make sure you like, you share, and you subscribe to the channel. YouTube is telling me a whole lot of y'all coming through and are not subscribed to the channel. I'd appreciate you just showing that wonderful thing. Hit the like, subscribe, and if you would like to join us for more fun backstage, please consider joining one of the levels of memberships. So we have Yuchen and Joan, okay? Remember what they said? Joan, they said they asked for the streets and she took them to the sanctuary, okay? That was from the image architect, Law Roach. Yuchen, he was supposed to shine, but he showed them nothing new. So sorry, Yuchen. Okay. So they said, Joan, you are out. So Joan was sent home. Yuchen was weeping. He is taking this personally. He feels like he sent Miss Joan home. And sir, I appreciate the emotions, but you didn't send Miss Joan home, okay? Miss Joan's design is what sent her home. It was not for the streets. It was not for the streets like the judges wanted. It was definitely Miss Joan's design for her model was not streetwear the way they wanted it to be. Hey, to go to Africa, glad to see you are here. Yes, Miss Joan's design was not for the streetwear the way the judges wanted streetwear to happen. But she is absolutely beautiful, a wonderful designer, wonderful tailor, okay? Miss Joan is talented. There's nothing to take away from Miss Joan and her talents. And that's what the, judges definitely told her. Now, she went back there. She was consoling Yuchen, okay? She tells him, hey, you're starting your journey as a designer. Remember, Joan has her own label. She has her own, fashion house, so to speak. But everyone says great things about Joan on the way out. Says she has been the joy of the season. She has offered them love and a safe space when they needed it. And Miss Joan said the show saved her life. And it has been wonderful watching Miss Joan on this journey. Now, the very next day, we see the twins with Balania in a little workout space where they are living. And they joke about Balania and her body language attitude that Law Roach told her about last time. So they were doing the glasses. Okay. Sorry, let me take this down. They were doing the glasses. And that Balania was doing. They were talking about that. Joan sounds like a class act. Yes, she was, Sam. Joan has been a class act throughout this entire show. She left with elegance and grace. I will miss her. Yes, definitely. Definitely. I would take, Joan coming back, another time. So, yes. So, as I said, the twins were joking with Balania and her glasses and her attitude on the runway with Law Roach. And Balania took it in stride. She kind of understood what was being said, what was, being taken away. And she got a good giggle out of it. But I'm glad she was able to see. She's like, no, I don't act like that. And Shady Production, which I love, Shady Production did it where you clearly saw Melania on the stage, you know, doing her, I hear you, I see you. Shady production. So we go to the runway, and Christian tells them what their new challenge today is going to be. Now, the new challenge is, the title of the episode is Runway Rodeo. And the assignment is Western chic. They are given $500 to shop and only 30 minutes to do it at Mood. Okay? What can I say? I don't have any cowboy stuff. I told y'all I'm going to try to do some cowboy, or relation to whatever the challenge is, but I ain't got no cowboy stuff. I ain't got no cowboy hat, no shoes. I ain't got nothing like that with cowboy. The most thing I could have is a distressed look, because I can't even find my jeans jacket. I need to ask my children, my boys, if they took my jeans jacket. I can't even find that. So I ain't got nothing, Western enough for you guys. But a few things came up that I found really odd. Yu Chen doesn't know who Dolly Parton is. Now, y'all, I know. Dolly Parton has not performed in forever, but Dolly Parton, for me, transcends famous. Okay? She transcends famous. So the fact that Yu Chen didn't know who Miss Dolly Parton is, I was floored. But then again, remember, Antonio, didn't know what Hammer Time pants were. He didn't know who MC Hammer was. I was like, when were these babies born? But then again, Christian is about the same age, not too much older than them now. So Christian knew. So how come these folks don't know? Yes, Dolly is an icon. Dolly Parton is an icon. How do you not know who Miss Parton is? How do you not know who Miss Dolly Parton is? Oh, even if I Will Always Love You, Whitney Houston, originally done by Miss Dolly Parton. There's Dollywood. It's like, how do you not know Dolly Parton? But we have to know, this is a different generation. And Yu Chen too. I don't know how long Yu Chen has been in the US designing. I don't know. So I will give him some grace. Okay? Some grace where he didn't know who Dolly Parton was. So the way the runway worked, that's how I'm going to show you the designs, and we're going to talk about it. We have from Jesus to Melania, Ethan, Antonio, VJ, and Yu Chen. That's how it went, and that's how I'm going to show you the pictures. Hey, Chicago girl, glad to see you. Glad to have you. You're right on time. We're getting into the fashion of this week, okay? To this day, she praises Whitney for covering her song. Yes, she does. Yes, she does. Yu Chen has an accent. He may not have been in the U.S. long. I really think so. I really, really think so. So as Heidi says, let's start the show. Except I got to show you pictures for this show. Y'all, we just started. Welcome in to those who just arrived. Miss Joan was sent home. Yu Chen is still here. And we have started the show. Okay? So, Jesus, y'all know how we do it around here. Y'all put your grades in here for Jesus. Now, the picture does not do Jesus's look any justice. Around the neck, around the body, the middle of the top, the crop top, and parts of the skirt is like a burnt look. Now, what happened is Jesus tried to bind his leather to another layer of fabric, and it had a burn. Did y'all ever, Chicago girl? Yeah, you're ready. Hey, K Sharp, glad to have you here. We are on the first one on Jesus. Have y'all ever put an iron on something and it was too hot and it got that little iron burn? Well, he did it smack dab in the middle of his top. And he decided with Ethan, with all of them that were listening and watching, they said, well, just keep on burning. Make the burn a look. Also, the jacket there has a lot of fringe, like cowboy fringe on the arm, on the back. Exactly. So Sam gives him a 9. We're going from, 0 to 10. You know how you like Jesus's look? Chicago girl gives him a 9. K Sharp gives Jesus a 10. Okay. Yes, thank you all for welcoming K Sharp in the room. So Jesus is getting top marks. I mean, not tens, but he's getting certainly top marks. If you're watching this on the replay, please list out the designers. Let me know your thoughts. Give your grades because I do talk to those of y'all in the chat. To Go to Africa gives it a 9. Okay. Now I did like that little collar. Okay. I love a little, mock little collar. I like that. I like that look. He had a big button there and he made it look like it was a little burnt, kind of a little sunburned. I really do like that he leaned in to the burn of it all. So let's move on to the next, Belania. Now, Belania, Christian was concerned because it kind of looked like her previous outfit for streetwear, but she had a classic look. She had the jeans, the top and the bottom. It looked like a shirt dress. Okay, Belania had like a shirt dress, and then she put that jean jacket over it and that jean skirt over it. And so this is Belania's look, and she was able to find a cowboy hat with the same color fabric. So Dakota Africa gives Belania a 9, just like she gave Jesus a 9. Sam gives her a 7. Because I was kind of confused, because even the top of the boyfriend shirt, that's kind of see-through on the top there. And I was like, Belania, and the judges said, you got a lot going on, okay? This is Belania's look, y'all, okay? And we'll get into what the judges say when I get into more detail. Chicago Girl gives Belania an 8. Did it look great on the runway? It did not. It did not. And somebody was told, we'll get to that, Sam. Somebody was told that just because of one imperfection is why they weren't on the top. And I really think Belania would not have been at the top if this person had the imperfection done. So that's just my take on it, okay? That's just my take. I want to rate it higher, but something seems off. It does seem off. It did seem a little off when the young lady was walking the runway. And I think for me is, if I have a boyfriend, like that button-down shirt dress kind of look, I won't put a skirt over it. That's what making it a little bit off for me, is that, okay, I like the little jacket. I can see that. I could see that. But I would not, if I have a boyfriend dress that long, I wouldn't put a jean skirt that's shorter than it over it, if that makes sense. But y'all remember, I am your fashionless friend. I am not a fashion professional. I do not work in the fashion industry. I am just a humble person who loves this show, loves to watch the fashion, and would like everybody's input on what their thoughts are. So yes, this is Belania's look. That's what looked a little bit off for me. I wonder if Huda is joining us. Last night, Huda was in our Elsa Unscripted, having a good time. And now I don't see Huda here. Huda, if you're in the bushes, step on out and let us know what you wanted to talk about last night as it relates to Project Runway. So yes, that's Belania's look, and that's what I thought about Belania's look. So let me take y'all comments off the screen for a bit, and let's take a look at Ethan's look. Okay? This is Ethan's look. Yes, Chicago Girl. I was surprised, but okay. Let's look at Ethan's look. Ethan's look, to me, looks similar like his streetwear girl, where she walk in some kind of street, okay? But it is like a python, and what the picture does not denote is that he has a trail behind, okay? At least a couple feet behind that's trailing behind her. So she was selling the dress like she was a python just walking down the stage. Yes, ma'am. Here goes Sam. Yes, ma'am. You don't have to hem this one up, Sam. Just need to tie it as tight or not as tight as you like it. So this is Ethan's look. It's like a python kind of dress. To me, like his skirt was kind of woven and done that lace look last week. I think he's doing that woven thing again this week. So I'm hoping Ethan doesn't keep us always weaving stuff. So please put your, numbers in the chat for Ethan. Chicago Girl gives him a 9.8. That reminds me of someone who was in our chat that was doing them decimal points, okay? 9.8 for Chicago Girl. To Go to Africa, 8.5. It would have looked better if she had on boots. Yeah, she did not have on any cowboy boots. I wonder, it would have to be at least a thigh high. I mean, all that leg showing may have been hidden. I don't know. A boot is needed But I don't know what kind of boot would really complement it, is my thought. Y'all can put it in the comments if y'all feel the same way. It was, more of just like high heels. She just had high heels. She did not have boots like Melania and Jesus's model, as you see there. But I do agree with you. A boot would definitely be in order. So that is the 3 designers right there, okay, at the beginning of the show. Now let's go on to the next 3 designers for the show, because we're down to the, as Heidi said, the dirty half dozen. There wasn't anything that would make it look country. Love it to go to Africa. Love it. Love it. Okay, these are the other 3 designers. Next up on the runway is Anthony. Now, Anthony told us because they are part Native American as well, or sorry, Mexican American, Mesoamerican. He took that type of feel, and yes, Native American as well, to make his, garment. Now, I did 2 pictures because, he and his brother like these itty bitty crop tops. And that belt look on the left is the top for his model. And you can't really see it from the full picture. But he has, what I would say, and no offense at all, and more of like, in the vein of like a Pocahontas look. Definitely. So that is what he was going for, but he did not use that word. Sam gives Anthony an 8. Okay. Chicago Girl also gives Anthony an 8. Now, funny enough, everyone, Anthony is the only designer as of this episode to not win a challenge yet. To go to Africa, 9.5. The belt top is unique. Yes, it is. It is very. You want him to win, Chicago Girl? He did too. He did too. But he's the only one not to win. Now, he's made it to the top twice and like almost got there. Almost. He could taste the win. But what I don't like this season is that the wins don't actually turn into something like, oh, you get, a prize pack or a makeup packet from da 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 da. I just was like, oh, okay, please. I think it was better than his brothers. To go to Africa. No lies told. But then we are not the fashion professionals. We are the public. And the public thinks it was better. I'm with you. I'm definitely with you. But I think I know why his brother was got a shoe in. That little burn pattern is different. And I think that's why his brother had a shoe in. Now let's go to VJ. Y'all, VJ decided he was going to do a sheath dress. Hey, Dammy J, glad to have you here. We're going over Project Runway. I usually put up the photos of the runway and we grade them. So we are here at VJ. Now, VJ had this slimming, sleek, dress that is a black and brown tones. And the very front, all that red is fringe. So VJ, decided to take it a little bit differently for the, look. Okay? For the look, VJ knows that she needed to put fringe. She decided to put it all the way to the front. So that's what that red plastic look is. Oh, yeah, VJ threw a lot of shade. A lot of shade. Okay, the theme is Western chic or runway rodeo, okay? The runway rodeo. So we're at VJ. So from 0 to 10, if y'all can put there, what do you think of VJ's look? Sam gives it a 6, okay? Okay. Gives it a 6. So I know it was probably Cowboy Carter inspired, but they couldn't say that, of course, for obvious reasons. So, but, the whole rodeo thing is coming in. Dammy J, thank you for joining in and just jumping in. She gives VJ a 6. So yes, I was not impressed by VJ's look. I thought it looked tacky. It looked like unconventional challenge. I usually don't, for me, VJ was very disappointing this week. All the way disappointing. Maybe it could have go higher if the shades look sexy. Maybe if it wasn't red. Maybe if it was like a leather brown or something. 4.5. It would have been much better if he had made it with denim. I don't know if the judges would have liked denim strings, but definitely leather. Definitely leather. Yes, Dammy J. Definitely Cowboy Carter. So y'all put in, all of your thoughts on VJ. I just thought, looking at everybody's cowboy style, it definitely did not, suffice. It didn't look good. So Chicago Girl says 6. I didn't like the dress underneath. Gave him an extra point because of the cutting time. Yes, VJ took a lot of time on this dress, and as y'all will hear what the judges had to say, because I'm going to tell you later when we look at the top looks and the bottom looks as the judges pick them. So let's move on to Yu Chin, okay? I'm going to take y'all thing down for a bit. This is Yu Chin's look. Now, Yu Chin, remember, I don't think I need to take y'all comments down. Sorry. Yu Chin's look, though, Yu Chin didn't know who Dolly Parton was, remember? So he don't know what the country look is. But again, like Dammy J jumped in and says, you were thinking Cowboy Carter. I think Yu Chin should have thought Cowboy Carter. I think he did, but he thought too much of Beyonce and not Cowboy. Okay? Now, on her chest are horns, okay? Sam is like, what the? On her chest are horns. Now, Sam gives him a 6. To Go to Africa gives him a 3 for effort. Chicago Girl says, child. Thank you, members, for using your member emojis. So Chicago Girl gives him a 4. Now, what he equates it to is there's a nomad population from his country. Okay, there's a nomad population from his country that I kind of like think the shepherds of like Mongolia kind of look. So they always use horns, and their animals, they decorate the horns a lot. So he wanted to bring his culture's kind of cowboys into this. But placement is giving Madonna's Vogue. It is. But that was, back in that day. 5 for effort. Thank you, Dammy J. Yes, he didn't know who Dolly Parton is. He is not been in the US too long, I believe. But, his youth too. Because the ones that were born and raised here, Dammy J, don't even know who MC Hammer was. Okay? Christian warned him about the material. He said, don't go too silver. Don't go like silver everything. And why, if you are a streetwear designer who does wonderful jackets, every jacket he's done is amazing. Why would you do a gown? Why would you do a gown? Christian warned him about the material and about the fact that he did a gown and slapped a Cowboy Carter hat on her head. Many young people in his generation in the US don't know about Dolly Parton. They really don't. They really don't. He said he wanted to push himself to do something different, and Christian was like, why do something different when you are known for jackets? So in this, okay, the horns are on her chest. It is decorated, but we did not hear that on the runway. He kind of, told the judges that, okay? But she sold the dress. She came out there and she handled them horns while on the runway, y'all. She handled the horns. David J said, now I know about who MC Hammer is. I'm a Brit, so no excuses. Absolutely no excuses, Dammy J. Absolutely no excuses. That's what Christian said. So y'all, and just for your sake, Dammy J, I see her in the YouTube streets all the time. Just for your sake, Dammy J, I'm just going to let you see. These were the other 3 designers, okay? Jesus, who is twin brother to Antonio, Belania, and Ethan. These were the other 3 that you came in on that you didn't really see, okay? So what I'm going to do now is let y'all know who the top looks were, okay? The top looks for the judges. The judges said these 3 were the top looks. Chicago Girl, I have so many questions. Girl, I hope he was able to explain to the judges. So Antonio, here's what they said about Antonio being a top look. Okay? Yes, Ethan's was good, but we're going to talk to you. So Antonio said he checked off the boxes. The belt top, his top is actually like a belt, is a wow factor. It was a great idea. It's stunning. It's beautiful with the Latino element, and the image architect Law Roach said the styling is phenomenal. Now, the reason why that matters is because all the other times Laura Roach has been on Antonio's neck about styling and how it is tacky and how it just ain't it. So for Laura Roach now to come in and tell him that the styling is phenomenal, Antonio just was soaking and basking in the wonderfulness. For Jesus, the judges said it is stunning from every angle. They said the coat is spectacular. He does explain to them that the burn look was actually a mistake. And they said it doesn't look like a mistake, but in mistakes is where you make new discoveries. Okay. Now that long jacket, this doesn't do it justice, but it had a lot of fringe and it really give you that cowboy fringe look. And he had the burn pattern on the top, on the skirt, and in the collar with the big button in the center. Now, he did make a mistake. He did burn his material. And the other designers told him just go with it. And he just made it a little dark brown in the burn spots. So, yes. Melania, they said, this was a very strong point of view for her. It is stunning, but it did not try to interpret too much of anything, but she made many things work. Okay. I think Antonio should have won. His outfit looks the most country. But wait for us because I couldn't wait. Jesus's outfit does look like Coachella. Yes, you are so right, Dammy Jade. So the winner, as y'all are letting it out the bag, okay? The winner for the judges was Jesus. And Antonio's face when his brother was declared the winner was priceless because Antonio hasn't won anything yet. Okay? Not a thing. And this is his brother's, second or third win? So Antonio thought it was going to be his win. That's what he said. He said he is the cowboy in the family. And the brother acknowledged that. Antonio is the cowboy in the family. He's always wearing a cowboy hat and all kind of cowboy accessories. He's the cowboy, and he didn't win. So Antonio is frustrated, and he's mad at his twin. And Jesus is telling us it's a tough win because he really thought this was his brother's to win. And VJ said this will just make Jesus more cocky in the workroom. So yes. Look forward to these breakdowns too, even though I don't watch the show. Thank you, Sam. I'm glad you're here for it, even though you don't watch the show. I can only imagine. I think they're making Antonio pay for coming back. Well, no, Jesus is the one that came back. Jesus was on Project Runway before season, I believe it was season 5 or season 7. No, season 14, and he was out by episode 7. Jesus is the one that came back to Project Runway. It's been 15 years since he's been on the show. I think it was 15. Is it 15? Maybe 10 years. This is Antonio's first time on Project Runway. Okay. I prefer the older season. This season seems rushed. It does. It does. The challenge was country and not Coachella. Thank you to Go to Africa. And of all the things, because he was so inspired by his native peoples of that region, I would more see Antonio's look as truly bringing the roots of country back. That's how I saw Antonio's look. He's really bringing the roots of, country back. Okay? He is really bringing the roots of country back. And I really thought that Antonio was going to win this challenge. Not Jesus. Really did. Hey, Just Rhonda01, glad to have you here. 2 Estradas are not better than 1. You're coming in swinging. Y'all, if you can, please support Just Rhonda01. Her channel, she covers all of your housewives, your married to medicines, your love and marriage Huntsvilles. She also covers Project Runway and King's Court. So if you will, take a gander over in her neck of the woods, okay? But 2 Estradas are not better than 1. Exactly. And Jesus has been here before. Jesus has been here before. He was off of Project Runway. His taste level has improved. Okay? If you go to my Meet the Designers, I show you the dress on the first time he was on Project Runway, what got him kicked off. Okay, if you want to go check that out, Damage In, anyone else in the bushes who's looking around. Learning from you all this season is a bit rushed. That's too bad. Here's the bit rushed. Here's the thing. We also get to see in previous seasons how the designers get their models, because it used to be a mad rush. It used to be that a designer who won the previous episode got to pick their model first, or they were exempt from elimination. So winning a challenge meant you got to be safe the next week. But in this one, no one is safe. Also, Christian, for the other designers to pick a model, he used to go in and like pull a button, pull a name, and you would get, that'll be the next person to actually select a model. It was a lot of things, okay? It was a lot of great things we got to see behind the scenes. We got a lot more hair and makeup, scenes as well, okay? Dammy J says, I remember some of the older seasons, they were some power moves. Yes. And everybody's a little disappointed, Dammy J, in the designs too of this season, because they think everybody's kind of either playing it safe or it isn't as wow as, the designers of previous seasons. So that was the 3 top looks, okay? And the winner being Jesus. And I want to see how the twins go handle this, because they are also Gemini twins on twins. So again, just Rhonda, I was saying what I didn't like with Belania's look. It looks like a boyfriend long shirt dress with a denim skirt over it. It doesn't work for me. And I think Belania is the reason Ethan ain't in the top. I think the twins were the top, and the judges told, here's the bottom looks. The judges told Ethan it was his ill-fitted top that kept him out of the top looks. And I think Belania would have dropped. Okay? I think Belania would have dropped if Ethan's top fit correctly. The shows are rushed because they usually have more than 24 hours to complete their outfits in previous seasons. Exactly. And they aren't told what to do their next challenge till the next morning. The runway is done and we're told right away. Right away. So the bottom looks. Okay, let's start with Ethan. They felt like they've seen it before, but it's impeccably made. But the ties kind of threw them off a bit. The color of the ties. They said if the laces were more in a tone of the dress, more of like a skin tone, it would have been more expensive. The top around the boobage was not flattering. And the styling dropped him, but it is a showstopper. And I guess what you guys were saying is because he doesn't have the boots. He doesn't have the cowboy boots or something of that effect, okay? And funny enough, Ethan grew up on a farm. Ethan, if you know Ethan, which is Queen Utica on RuPaul's Drag Race, you know his story, but he also says it here that he grew up on a farm. Color of the ties, give me a break. Just Rhonda says, I think I agree with them because my eyes are being drawn to the ties because they're black or more of a darker color than the actual thing. I think if he had like nude ties or at least a light color tie, maybe it wouldn't have looked. But yes, I think, as they said, it was very close. They told him it was very close between him and making it to the top. They usually had more time to draw their designs before or after they went to Mood. Yes, they usually did. And they had more time at Mood. This time was only 30 minutes at Mood. I don't know who can run around Mood and find everything they need and pay the bill in 30 minutes. I don't know. So for Yu-Chen, they said, okay, it brings excitement, okay? But they did not see the authenticity to the runway cowboy chic. He said he is streetwear, but he gave them an evening dress. So exactly what Christian warned him about, they told him, the judges told him. They also said it did not fit his model well. And if he's going to be this weird with the horns, it needs to be weirder. It needs to be over the top. But the taste level is beyond bad having those horns on her chest. And Laura Roach says, hate the dress, hate the dress, hate the dress. I mean, 3 times said hate the dress. So Yu-Chen, you know why you on the bottom. Now, VJ, They said the good was the cut and curve. You see the little brown curve on her hip? They said the curve of it, VJ certainly knows. She knows how to, cut in a way that is flattering to the female form. But they say everything else is a mismatch and it's confusing. It is a Project Runway nightmare. It does not say Western. And Law Roach said, we asked for country chic and you gave us country and he's not going to hold anything back. And he certainly did. Because I do not want the image architect out here calling my designs Okay? Not at all. Not at all. So while I think Yu Chen's taste level is in the bin, VJ may be going home. Did they think they would make this season better? I don't know. Ethan's look should have top 3, but the slit was too much. Dammy J, you should see last week's look. They said streetwear and he gave streetwalker. It says car wash. Yes, VJ said car wash. That's the minute I saw the fringe in the front, I was like, are we doing? Are we doing? Now here come Motown Investor coming in swinging. Coming in swinging. Y'all doing me real good today, coming in swinging. Double elimination is needed. Which two, Motown Investor? Drop it in the chat. Which two? So y'all, Ethan was told he was safe, okay? Ethan was told he was safe. There's nothing country about Yu Chen's fabric. He was thinking Country Carter. That's what he was thinking. Did Law Roach really say that? Yes, child. Yes, he really said we asked for country chic and you gave us country Yu Chen and VJ, Motown Investor says Yu Chen and VJ should go home. Both of them. Both of them. I can't be mad at that. Yu Chen was on the bottom last week, even though I love Yu Chen. I love Yu Chen's attitude. I love VJ's attitude, stirring up drama in the workroom, saying the twins need to stop working together. Can't y'all do nothing without the other one? Who actually gonna win if y'all working on each other's clothing? I like VJ's drama in the workroom. I like Yu Chen giving a little bit of spiciness in the workroom. But y'all can go. Okay, I need to watch this show in the UK. Let me find a way my VPN will allow it. It is, daggone it, what is it on? Project Runway. It's on Freeform. It's also on Hulu. And I forgot what's the other one. I do have a post, Dammy J, on my community wall that has the 3 different spots that you can actually see the show. It is Freeform, Hulu, and there's another one that is escaping me right now. Bring back Joseph McCrae, a real designer. I wanted Joseph to be here for streetwear and for avant-garde. That's when I wanted Joseph here. As we previously discussed, the show appears to be on a low budget. Yes, it does. It seems rushed. Love seeing Zach Posen. He was always a fave. Yes, he was my fave, of the judges. He was back just visiting, as he said, but he always used to give it to them good too. You're welcome, Dammy J. He used to give it to them good. The reason why I like Dammy J for y'all to watch the show is because even though I'm giving you all the photos, I cannot do the runway. I cannot show the runway because you'll get dinged by the show, which they have been doing that to channels that have been showing the runway, y'all, okay? You'll get dinged. So I said, this is the best way I can bring the fashion to my audience is to have a photo of it, and we can grade it ourselves. We can do our own little judging over here, okay? You can do your own little judging right here. Low budget indeed. Yeah, Chicago girl. I was hoping for some of the designs for y'all to see things move until I, because I keep up and try to look at other content creators, their take on it. And I'm like, yeah. Just Rhonda says, see what happens when Nina is missing? Well, I don't mind Zach Posen taking over for Nina. It's the other times when Nina wasn't there. And then, when people have a little bit of to say. But I'm glad Posen was there instead of Nina. He's a good substitute for Nina. Everybody else, you're right, Just Rhonda. Just don't rise to the level. And why is Nina not there? Remember all the seasons before, Other people can change, but Nina was there every single episode. I just like, what the heck happened? Why is Nina not here? Things are off the rail when, the editor-in-chief of Elle magazine is not present. Zach is definitely wearing his country and Western outfit. Right? He definitely was. So these are the bottom looks, okay? As I said, Ethan is safe, and Yuchen and VJ are on the bottom. And Motown, do y'all agree that Yuchen and VJ on the bottom? Put an A in the chat if you agree, but here's a second A. Do you agree with Motown Investor? We should have a double elimination and send both Yuchen and VJ home. So the first A is to agree with the judges, and the second A is if you agree, both of them should be sent home. Y'all put it in the chat. I want to make it as simple as possible. And I love that Motown Investor where you come in swinging like, ooh, both of them. Now he's saying, Motown Investor is saying this. She is saying this because we have had double eliminations before. We have had double eliminations before, and it has been a shock. That is when Tim Gunn was the mentor. Definitely, we have had double eliminations, but also in the past, Christian, the mentor, had a save that he can save one designer one time in the show right before the finals. Motown Investor says, yep, agree, and double elimination. Jess Rhonda as well agrees that Yuchen and VJ should be on the bottom, and it should be a double elimination. Carl says, hey, Carl, glad to see you. The concept is cowboy. Two foreigners are not familiar with the concept, so I'm not surprised. Right. But Carl, we got Cowboy Carter now. Now, the Queen Bee has come out with a whole bunch of country that's internationally known now. I'll give you that, Carl. But for these two in fashion, they should at least know the Beyonce version of country. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have any, thing with somebody coming out with some short jeans pants, and something that, Beyonce would wear at her concert. I love you, Chen, but I think he needs to go this week. I know. This is second week in a row. I want to see VJ in Avant-Garde more than I want to see Yu Chen. I want to see VJ continue. Thank you, Chicago girl. I do. I really want to see. Yeah, I'm all for the Avant-Garde look. There are two looks I wanted to see, which was Avant-Garde, which has not happened yet, and Unconventional Challenge. For those of you who may not have watched Project Runway, Unconventional Challenge is where you take materials that may be beach balls, pencils, paper, and you make a look from something that is unconventional and make it look like something brand new and ready for a runway. So I like the Unconventional Challenge, and Avant-Garde is coming up. And if I had to pick one, I'd want VJ there. And this is this VJ's? No, this is VJ's second time on the bottom, as well as Yu Chen's second time on the bottom for Project Runway. So I don't know. And if they hit a double elimination, I'm not too sad about it. This is episode 7. Okay? This is episode 7. Are we going up to 10 episodes? We have 6 designers. Usually it's 3 to 4, at the finale for the entire Fashion Week showcase. So this one eliminated episode 7, another one eliminated episode 8, and maybe another one for episode 9. I was hoping for a Britney Spears cowboy outfit, but the contestants seem to lack creativity and tired. They are tired, Carl. I could see it. If every day is a new challenge and you only have one day to do it, design, shop, and put everything together, they are definitely tired. But a Britney Spears cowboy, yes, I remember that when she and Justin Timberlake were in their matching denim at was it the People's Choice Awards or was it the MTV Awards? No, it wasn't the Grammys. But I remember that. That could have worked. I'm sure VJ or Yu Chen would have known about that. They both are Asian. Many foreigners are not always familiar with our culture and music. Okay, I can agree with that. I have Disney Plus, so I'll try my VPN later on. Awesome, Dammy J. Glad that you were able to check that out and you were able to find it. Yes, it comes on Thursday nights here on the US side. I believe 9 o'clock at night. Disney Plus, I know, usually has it on the next day. Oh, Motown investor came in swinging and said, "Here, Carl, I ain't gonna take that whole. No, sorry, to go to Africa, I ain't gonna take that day whole. The Asian, because the K-pop groups do country music. Thank you for that, Motown investor. So the K-pop group, well, they do some country, but they maybe not deep country, but they do some country. But I think if Yu-Chen would have followed what his thought process was, remember, he thought of the more cattle style nomads of his culture. And I think if he did that, he could have really done something great. He really could have done something great. So he could have done, like the more like how the Native Americans have those cover-ups, the coveralls, and it looks like, very much like a quilted jacket. He could have done something like that, because that is his version of kind of a cowboy, who rounds up cattle and all of that from his country. If he had done that, it may have pulled cowboy into an Asian cowboy flair, and he may have had something, but he would have had to do a jacket. He would have had to done something like that in order to pull it off. And I wish he didn't stick to just the horns, but he was kind of stuck with the silver material for the silver dress. That is what I didn't like. If he had done the kind of patchwork look, it would have, resonated, because they're more nomad, country kind of herding. They don't call them cowboys, but they're certainly nomads. That would have translated very well, and he could have cheeked it up, and he wouldn't have been this far on the bottom. K-pop doing country? Yes, I've seen it, Damage J. Not very well in my mind. But I have seen the K-pop folks trying out doing some country stuff. Yes, I've seen it. I've seen their choreography, and it's just not altogether there for me. But y'all, that has been the runway. Let me once again show you. These were the top looks for this week. Okay. Jesus won, where we all say Antonio should have won. Antonio, we on your side, but we are not the fashion professionals. Okay. So definitely. Okay. And these are the bottom looks, but Ethan was told he was safe. K-pop groups are Korean. The average Asian still listens to their languages because the songs are in their language. How before coming on the show? What do you mean, how before coming on the show? How what before coming on the show? I'm not sure, Chicago girl, what your question is. Okay, I'm not sure. But what I find interesting is I want to see how the twins are going to relate to each other. Okay? How the twins, or how did Yu-Chen prepare before coming to the show? He has his own fashion brand and line. If you go to my Meet the Designers, it also has his Instagram in there, all the designers. And if you are going to go to the designers' social media, please, y'all, be kind, be nice to them. I don't want anyone to ever, be negative to a designer. This is hard for them to come on here. I know how to sew, but I am definitely not a designer. Okay. But yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I can still see it. But he has his own brand, and many of them, like Miss Joan, VJ, and Yu-Chen, they did have a fashion show before they even came onto Project Runway. So these are folks that have their own brand, and they do design for some of them for celebrities already. So Project Runway is just a step to, I guess, elevate the celebrities that they do, take homage with. Oh, hey, Jackson Tabasco, you're late. Yu-Chen, 2 weeks in a row. The designs have been good. Yes. But Jackson Tabasco, Motown investor, did say that maybe it should be a double elimination and send both of them home. Okay? Both of them home. So I don't know. We used to have that. We used to have a double elimination before. But again, VJ had their own brand and does custom orders. Yes. Does custom orders. Yes, VJ does. VJ is definitely a custom order person. But yes, these were the top looks again. Antonio, I think they robbed you of the win. I'm sorry, Jesus. You ain't my fave. Antonio ain't my fave either with the past two outfits he had, an unconventional challenge and the runway after that. But I can give praise where praise is due. Antonio, this week, I'm sorry, the judges had it wrong. I know they want to talk about, Jesus's burnt look is innovative and all of that. But Antonio, I'm sorry, you are the people's favorite this week, okay? You are the people's favorite. I love the Mexican cowboy culture. Most of the cowboy clothing is made in Mexico, especially the snakeskin boots and denim. They can't send both of them like VJ. Jesus did great. Yes, Jesus did great. I just think Antonio was a step above. That was just me. I just think Antonio's, and if I go back to the original one, that the look of the belt being the top, they like a crop top. They like a crop top. So I think Antonio, it was his to win this week. Oh, whoa, VJ designed a dress for Emma Stone for the Oscars. Yes, VJ did. Yep. This is just to be known. This is more out there. Yes. VJ did place second in Project Runway in her country, the Philippines. So this is technically VJ's second run in Project Runway. Not this people. The top looks are just, I don't know, obvious, I think. Okay, Carl, nothing stunning. I really didn't like Melania as a top look, but as they told Ethan that, it's only because of the ill-fitted top. But Ethan Ethan had a little bit of sass when he said, "I'm usually used to models whose headlights, okay, whose chest area is shaped in a particular way and doesn't move." So what Ethan was saying is, I'm not used to natural boobage. I was like, no, Ethan, you cannot say that. You cannot say that. But I guess, hey, when Queen Utica is going out there and has to add it, I guess, hey, that is the angle at which he's going for as well. Carl says it lacked creativity. I really did like Antonio's. I know what you're saying, Carl. There was no innovation. It was nothing absolutely new with it. I'm with you, Carl. It was no innovation. But usually when people do cowboy, they're not going back to the roots of it, which is the native people. Okay? And I felt like Antonio bringing back the native people look and approach to it, I really liked it. And that, again, that's just me. I don't have to convince anyone else. That is just me, my opinion, my thought, and it is one day to do all of this design, shop, put it together. Okay. Yes, he used to design Ethan or Queen Utica from RuPaul's Drag Race, designed for drag queens mainly. There's nothing much they can do in a one-day challenge. Right. And I'm with all of these designs, it may take me, I'm like the young lady before, Madeline, it may take me a whole day just to think of this. Y'all, I am not a fashion designer. I'm not a fashion girly either. It may take me a whole day to even think of something like this. Even think about this. Antonio's styling was on point. That is exactly what Laura Roach said. Laura Roach told Antonio the styling was phenomenal. That is a quote. And Anthony took it all in because Laura Roach did not like his styling before. He trashed it almost every runway except for the couple times he was on the top. But yes, I really thought Antonio should have won this one. Jesus, yes, it's more like cowboy Carter, modern style, but I'm a historical girly too, so I do like Antonio's look better in my mind. But hey, I think either one of the twins could have won it. Jesus won it. I just the look. Y'all need to go back, Damien J. All of y'all, when they declare Jesus the winner, you need to look at Antonio's face. The look, he was like, and looked at his brother, and the way Jesus looked back at him, it was like, oh crap. I done took the shine from my brother again. That was the look. And I was like, how these twins gonna go home now and fix this? VJ Florenska on the Hulu reality show Dress My Tour last year. Yes, VJ has been on other television shows as well. I had a VJ fan come into my comments and let me know exactly, hey, VJ ain't new to this. She true to this. And listed out where VJ has told me exactly where VJ has been on shows before. Yes, Antonio should have won. Where the people have spoken. If we had a People's Choice Award this week, if we had a People's Choice Award, I think Antonio would have won it this week with a People's Choice. Because yes, Jesus is, fashion forward, but he burnt the material. I'm just giving it to you straight. He burnt the material. Okay? He burnt it. And the mistake may have turned into something grand, but he burnt the material. But Antonio, I love it because it goes back to the roots. And do you know he has to tie and knot each one of those fringe that's on there? Each one of the fringe. Then the belt, that is the belt top, was black. He had to cover it with the white leather, and then he had to weave it around the belt top. If this is a closer look at the top, he had to weave it around the buckle and around the top, all of that too. So again, Antonio put in some work. Antonio put in some work in this, dress and outfit. I really did like it. That's just y'all know usually these weeks I don't push what my thoughts are. I don't really vocalize who I think, as strongly as I am for Antonio this time. Now his taste level has been awful the past 2 weeks or 3 weeks. But again, I'm like, I can stand up for Antonio this week. Carl says, I wonder if he didn't burn it, would he have landed at the top? Exactly, Carl. I don't think he would have. I don't think he would have, because it would have been a regular tube top. Because it wouldn't have had the burnt texture and all of that stuff. I don't think he would have, Carl, at all. I don't think Jesus, without that mistake, would have made it there. And the judges kind of, covered it like, oh, in mistakes is wonderful discoveries. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. But it was a mistake. I definitely would have loved to see. Here's what Project Runway could do too. Y'all could show us the next day. You could show us the judges' cards. How did they score it? I would love to see how the judges scored each of the brothers on their cards. It doesn't have to be private. I mean, y'all could let us see how not the bottom looks, but y'all can let us know how the top looks were scored. Perfectly fine. I would love to see the scorecards on the two brothers, to see how close they were for the judges' scorings. I would just love to see that. But I would have loved to see what also Christian. That's the other thing, y'all. Because they are eliminating the designers at the beginning of the next episode, we don't get Christians after the Runway show. The previous seasons, when they eliminated a designer at the end of the show, then we would get a 30-minute, or maybe it was 10 minutes, I don't know, a very short show with Christian talking about the episode and the design and what is next for that designer who was eliminated. And we don't get that. And I feel like robbed of that, because I loved when Christian sat down with each designer when they were eliminated. I can't believe he didn't know it would burn. I know! Leather burns so quick. And I can't believe he did it in the middle of the thing. It's like when you learn to iron, you learn to just touch the edge of it where it wouldn't make much of a thing. He put the iron in the middle of the daggone material, and he didn't have extra. I can't believe he did it either to go to Africa. Leather burns. It will shrivel up so quickly. But y'all, thank you so much for joining me. This was Project Runway. Let me let you see what the bottom looks were like. So it is between Yuchen and VJ. Okay, it was between Yuchen and VJ. Next week, we'll find out who was sent home. You forgot about that? You forgot about Christian's show at the end? I didn't forget about it, because I loved watching that and just hearing the designers, because we don't get to hear them talk about their thoughts, plans, or where they've come from, apart from what the show, edits in for us. But y'all, this has been episode 7 of Project Runway. It has been wonderful this week. I hope you will join me again next week. We are here Saturdays at 5:05 EST, where I have the photos for you and we talk about Project Runway and we give our grading for the show. Yes, it has been fun. And y'all, tomorrow I'm going to try and do an unsolicited advice where we give the internet our advice when they put their requests for advice on the internet. You love you, Chen, but bye. Always fun. Yes, Jackson Tabasco, glad to see you, y'all. And as I always say, I'll see you on the next one.